Hi friends, I want to give you an update on the Leslie 31H Series 1 tall girl here that I've been working on off and on for the past while now. I've been working on the electrical side of things. Here's the amp chassis that I've done a full restoration on. And when I first got this thing, this is what the amp chassis looked like. It was finished in this kind of hammer gray finish and looked kind of dingy. And so I did a full cosmetic restoration on it, stripped it down to the bare metal, and then gave it this Rust-Oleum coat here with a clear coat on top, just a light clear coat, and made it look a little snazzier, I think. I like the cream look there. These holes here are where sockets used to be that are unnecessary now. I'll probably end up blanking those off with metal or fish paper or something like that. And I also had to do a complete electrical restoration on it because its condition when I got it was unknown. It hadn't been run in a long time and it had kind of been hacked with and things, so I gave it a full rebuild electrically. And so let's take a look at what that entails. So I basically replaced everything inside the chassis here, all the wiring, all the electrical components. The wiring was replaced, the old cloth wiring that was brittle and dangerous, and you want to just kind of get rid of that when you can. It looks cool, but not exactly the safest wiring there is. Replace it with modern PVC coated wiring. The transformer wiring here, I couldn't replace the wires themselves because they're hard attached to the transformers, so I ended up just covering them with shrink tubing, heat shrink tubing. But replaced all the wiring, replaced all the electrical components, every resistor and cap and everything was replaced, and upgraded it to a Trek 2 solid state relay here for 122 style switching. When I first got it all back together and fired it up and tested it, it worked well, but when I was on slow, when I would switch it to slow, the volume would drop significantly. And with the help of my friend Michael Smokowitz, who owns and operates Trek 2 products, he told me that I was missing my DC blocking caps here. And what happens is with the 122 style switching, the switching signal is a voltage that's superimposed on the audio line. And normally in a 122 amp, you have these DC blocking caps to block that from the audio signal from getting through the audio signal, because it can mess with the tubes, mess with the the way the tubes conduct, and it ends up pulling the audio signal down when you switch to slow. So put in these caps here, these 0.1 microfarad caps, and that fixed the audio problem, the audio drop problem. And there's just one more issue to sort out, and that is the stop function, which when you have those Trek 2 relays, it allows you to get a stop function as well as slow and fast for the motors. Right now, the motors don't want to go to stop, at least on this organ here. This organ has got a 122 kit in it, but the particular kit that's in this organ doesn't mate well with the relay in here, the EIS solid state relay. So I'm waiting on a new Leslie 122 kit for that organ to solve that problem. What I still have to do is reorient the upper driver here. I have to build a new platform for the driver and the rotor because I'll be converting this to 2-speed operation, and the 2-speed motor stacks are taller, and in order to accommodate them you have to raise the platform that the upper driver is on. So what I have to do is build a whole new platform here, mount it higher up so that it can accommodate the 2-speed motor stack. So I have to reconfigure this whole setup here, so that'll be a process. And then I also have to reconfigure down here where the base rotor goes. Again, I've got to fit a 2-speed motor stack in here, so I have to figure out how to do that with this type of arrangement. On this Leslie, this model of Leslie, the base rotor is driven from the bottom of the rotor versus the top on the later Leslie, so I have to kind of figure out how to make that work. Normally, the motor for the lower rotor is mounted on this shelf here, and it's easy to kind of work with, but since I'm dealing with it being driven from the bottom, it's a whole nother ball of wax. So I've got to figure that out. And of course, I have to finish the cosmetic restoration. As you can see, it's still looking kind of rough, particularly on the top. What I did was I stripped it all down, I stained it, and then I attempted to do a polyurethane finish with a brush. Real pain in the ass. Polyurethane is really just unpleasant to work with, and it's hard to make it look good unless you've got a spray booth, which I do not have. So I'm stripping it back down again. I'm gonna resand it, restain it, and I think I'm gonna do a shellac. It'll look a little more kind of traditional and also be easier to work with. So there you go. That's where we're at with the old tall girl.